and that was supposed to put out solid waste. Earlier in the day, BT was trying to record a pickle mukbang. Since March of 2020, she had lost all interest in work when everything became work at home. Her job in sales became a job of making it look like work was happening, when really nothing was getting done because everything had been endless, long-winded virtual calls of coworkers talking about nothing. She felt her career had become something that could have been email. Sometimes, when she was required to be on camera but didn't need to say anything, she would point her work computer's webcam at a video loop of herself on her tablet and make it look like she was there, but really, she was off doing her own thing. BT loved mukbangs, where people would eat food on camera. She found these therapeutic, where she could eat with a feeling like someone else was there with her. If no one was taking work seriously and she now had all this extra time on her hands, then why not try to make a few mukbangs myself now, she thought. For BT, almost instantly she had an audience. Every day she'd notice the same names commenting. They would send her messages and tips, and as she made more videos, she knew exactly what to expect. But she wanted more. To grow her audience, she noticed that when she ate something different or excessive, she'd attract bigger and bigger numbers. One day, while in the grocery store, BT found gallon jars of pickles. She remembered seeing earlier that other people had posted themselves eating these gallon jars, and those videos got huge numbers. But she needed to be different. Maybe she could just eat the gallon and enjoy it without the need for a rush. She looked on her phone, and pickles are healthy and low in calories, so it's going to be no problem, she thought. And she bought the gallon jug and prepped herself for the feast. At home now, excited for lunch, BT cracked open the jug and started eating the pickles. She felt good. She loved the crunch of the cucumber on her teeth as the pickle juice dripped out with flavor. Nothing like a nutritious meal, she thought, as she started explaining to her audience the health benefits of pickles. Pickles are cucumbers, and cucumbers are vegetables, so all of this is obviously healthy. And you know what? Athletes use pickle juice to replenish their electrolytes and prevent cramps, and can you believe this? It's also a probiotic, so undoubtedly it helps with digestion, and because stomach bacteria affects the brain, it basically just heals the whole body, she said to everyone as she slowly finished the gallon jar of pickles. She had to take a few bathroom breaks in between, and then she started drinking the juice. By this time, her lips were all puckered up from all the vinegar, and she could feel some sores in her mouth. But this didn't matter because there's nothing wrong with a good pickle, she thought. Immediately after finishing the whole gallon of pickles, BT felt bloated. She had seen some people get sick trying to eat it quickly, so doing it slower was absolutely the right thing to do. But about 20 minutes after her last sip of the juice, BT could feel her stomach rumble. At first, it was just a little shake, but very quickly, it felt like her stomach was folding on itself as she clenched her body together as hard as she could and ran to the bathroom.
Parçacıklı vanilya, enfes kakao ve elmayla başka boyutta bir eğlence. Yeni Algida Minecraft lezzet hazinesi. Hadi sen de keşfet.
Güneşin vücudunda yarattığı dramadan sıkıldın mı? Şimdi hikayeyi değiştirme zamanı. Yeni vazelin Glutamina güneş koruyucu. SPF50 faktörüyle güneş ışınlarına karşı korur ve leke görünümünü azaltır. Vazelin Glutamina ile bu sezon dramaya son.
On the toilet now, BT felt like all her organs had liquefied and exited her body into the bowl. As the hours passed, she felt almost every drop of water squeeze out of her body as her stomach and intestines kept shaking and quaking. In a world of hurt, she imagined her brain getting sucked out of her skull and flushed into the toilet as the trembling in her abdomen became more and more intense. After all this time, she had no urge to drink any water. Laying down now, BT could swear her skin was inside out. She could see herself kneeling on the floor while staring at the wall. She couldn't speak, but she wished she could. As she replayed herself eating the pickles, she was there being laughed at and confused. It kept everyone watching pleasantly amused enough to stay. But as it starts to feel like an ice pick had been jammed into her head from the back, she becomes weak and she calls for 911 as she's brought to the emergency room where we are now. At examination, BT told doctors something about pickles. It wasn't coherent because she was slurring her words. They weren't exactly sure what happened, but there's several clues as to what could be happening because she smells like pickles, and a blood test reveals that she has acute hypernatremia. Hyper meaning high. Natri referring to sodium, or more formally natrium, is shown by its symbol on the periodic table of elements. Anemia meaning presence in blood. High sodium presence in blood. Acute, meaning that there were no underlying problems that are leading to this issue aside from the 1 gallon of pickles inside her body at the moment, which brings us to the first clue. Pickles are high in sodium. That 1 gallon that BT ate has at least 20 grams of sodium in just pickles alone, not counting the pickle juice that she drank. If the juice has the same sodium content as the small pickle juicer bottles, then the juice alone could be around 10 to 15 grams of sodium. But this brings us to the difference between sodium and salt. Table salt is usually sodium chloride. That's a chemical solid made of sodium and chloride. The reason why this is important is because baking soda, which doesn't really taste salty, can also cause hypernatremia because it's sodium bicarbonate. If BT packed around 30 grams of sodium into her body during the gallon pickle mukbang, then it's like she ate 78 grams of table salt. This is a problem because 40 grams of table salt can be lethal, as doctors see BT quickly start to lose consciousness and have a seizure. The medical team knows that BT doesn't respond when they call her name. She's still breathing, but she doesn't respond to pain. Her muscles seem stiff, but when they shine a light into her eyes, they notice that her pupils do respond. All of this meaning that something is happening to her brain, but why? This brings us back to hypernatremia, high sodium presence in blood. If a potentially lethal dose of sodium went into her body, then that should explain it. But is that real? She had watery stools for hours, meaning that there was a net flow out of her body. So wouldn't the sodium have exited her body there? Maybe. You see, the interesting thing about sodium is that wherever it is, water will flow towards it. In the